Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. What if the true measure of civil service excellence is not only how efficiently it delivers, but also how equitably it includes? Maldives is answering this question not just in words, but in numbers, with a national vision where inclusion and diversity are not just side initiatives, but they are the very foundation of governance. And we see it in the doubling of funds for WDCs recently, empowering women to lead and shape decision-making at community level. We see it in a decentralized social protection system where island councils are entrusted to serve the vulnerable, the elders, and families with compassion and responsiveness. We see it in 1.5 billion rupiah budget dedicated to recreation, culture, and religion, preserving a heritage that reflects all voices. And we see it in forward-looking initiatives like gender inclusion initiatives project, gender equity seal, ensuring that fairness is there in how institutions hire, pay, and operate. So we are no longer asking whether inclusion and diversity matters. We are investing in making it real. And that is precisely why it is important to have this conversation right now. So to begin with, I'm going to invite you to use this platform to continue this conversation, to explore how inclusion and diversity can move beyond compassion and become the defining standard of civil service excellence. Okay, do you see this image in front of you? Please have a close look at that image. Take your time, there's absolutely no rush. Just take your time. I'll give you some time to have a look at that. What do you see? What do you see? Can I hear some responses? I know we are very far away, but yeah. A cat. That's something new. A cat. What else? A monkey. You see a monkey? All right. Said says he sees a lion. What? Tiger. It's not a lion, it's a tiger. And? Anything else? An eagle? Oh, that's interesting. You are seeing a lot of things that I did not see myself. An arrow? Twisted branches? Monkey climbing a branch? Perhaps a lion? Yes. All of you are right. But now, can I please ask you to raise your right hand? If you saw the, if you saw the tree first. If you saw the tree first. If you saw the tree first, raise your right hand. So only a few people saw the tree. If you saw the monkey first, can you raise your left hand? Okay? More people saw the monkey, so that's more dominant. Can you please stand up if you saw the lion? Can you stand up if you saw the lion? Or something similar to the lion? I think some of you misunderstood my instruction. I did not say first this time. So if you saw it even right now, you should be standing up. At any point in time, if you saw it, you should be standing up. Oh, so there are many who didn't see that lion there, right? I can still see it. Okay, thank you very much. Now, you might think I did that to get you moving because you had a big lunch, and usually it's sleep time in the afternoon, sleepy time. But that's not the reason why I did it. That simple exercise actually reveals something very profound. It actually reveals something very profound, that the same image can have many meanings, depending on who is looking at it and what lens he or she is using. And that's what diversity is about. Every perspective adds depth, every interpretation adds value, and together it creates the full picture that a single view cannot create. And that's how inclusion and diversity works in the civil service. It reminds us that strength does not come from one way of seeing, but from embracing the richness of many ways of serving, contributing, and thinking. Now, I stand here not as an expert in inclusion and diversity. That's not my area. But I stand here as an advocate, driven by the conviction that these principles must be at the heart of policymaking. As someone who is currently involved in civil service policy formulation, convinced that we have to build a system where no one is left behind through our policy formulation. Progress is never born of uniformity. Progress is born when differences are honored, when every voice is heard, and when inclusion ensures that those voices shape the choices that we make together. That's when progress happens. So diversity and inclusion are the very engines of trust, fairness, and innovation. They are the compass that guides us towards a civil service worthy of the people it serves. So it is our responsibility, our collective responsibility, everybody here, to champion inclusion, to amplify voices too often overlooked, and to ensure that our policies reflect the richness of our communities. And that is the vision I invite you to share: a civil service where no one is invisible and where progress is measured by how fully we embrace the strength of our differences. Now, diversity and inclusion are actually two sides of one coin. One without the other is incomplete. Diversity ensures proportional representation. It is inclusion that transforms these differences into strength. Inclusion ensures that every voice is not only present, but valued, not only heard, but acted upon. So with inclusion, diversity becomes innovation. It looks like I might have to put it in a simpler manner, so I'll use a quote by, what? Yeah. I use a quote by Myers, who says, diversity is being invited to the party. We all know parties, so diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. Do you see the difference? Can I hear? Yes or no? Do you see the difference? Huh? I hear only a few yeses, I see a few nods, but majority are just looking at me like you are confused. Do you see the difference? Unfortunately, I don't have time to explain, so I'll move on. Psychology teaches us that each person carries a unique set of experiences, identities, and perspectives. No two minds process reality in the same way. Our upbringing, our culture, our lived experiences act as lenses through which we see the world. And this is why listening to all voices is not just about fairness. It's not about fairness. It's about truth. If we only hear from those who think like us, then we tend to fall into what we call in psychology as confirmation bias. Simply put, it means we just reinforce what we believe. But what happens when you welcome, when you invite differences into the room? We expand our collective intelligence, and that's when innovation happens. Okay, so far I've been talking about diversity and inclusion in a theoretical sense, but why does it matter? Why do we have to talk about this? And how does it link to the topic, inclusion and diversity, civil service excellence? I'm going to give you 3 reasons due to time constraints, backed by some research evidence. Reason 1, why this is important. Representation through inclusion and diversity, it paves the path for innovation. There are lots of research that shows that diverse public workforces enhance organizational performance by bringing varied perspectives, networks, and cultural repertoires. This diversity that fosters creativity and more effective problem solving in policy design and service delivery. Another one, a study done by ILO in 2023 reports that there are high levels of equality, diversity, and inclusion are linked to greater innovation, productivity, performance, and workforce well-being. There's a number of research. So what is the takeaway from there? The takeaway is when our workforce reflects our society, our policies reflect reality. Isn't that what we are aiming for? Number 2, equity or fairness in service delivery. There are, again, lots of studies that highlight that embedding diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies in civil service reduces systematic bias, improves fairness in service distribution, and strengthens legitimacy of public institutions. ILO Global Survey done in 2021. It's a global survey, and participants from across 40 countries confirmed that inclusive practices improve recruitment, retention, and employee satisfaction. What's the message here? What's the message? It's there. Equity in the workforce translates into equity in the services we deliver. Final and the last reason I'm going to give today, inclusion builds trust. We talk about it all the time. But do we see it in reality is the question. The theory of representative bureaucracy is backed by lots of research, some of which says that when public institutions mirror the demographics of society, citizens report higher trust, stronger perceptions of fairness, and greater legitimacy. So a government or a governance system that looks like its people earns the trust of its people. So inclusion and fairness in the workplace is not simply the right thing to do, it is the smart thing to do. And that was said by Alexis Herman, former US Secretary of Labor. Do you agree with him? If you agree, can you please raise your hand? Any hand is fine, just raise your hand. Okay, so there are lots of people who don't agree. Keep it up, please. Keep your hands up a little while. It will burn some of the lunch that you ate just now. Okay, now look around you. Oh, that was too fast. Keep it up, until I put it down. Yeah, so now look around you. What do you see? Huh? Hands, lots of hands, yes. So inclusion, the fact that every hand that you saw up there is a testament to the truth that diversity is not simply a principle. It is a shared conviction. You just proved it. Many of you proved it. There were some who didn't actually. Okay, so evidence is very clear. Inclusion and diversity in workforce drive innovation, fairness, and trust, three of the core values of the Maldivian civil service. Now that we've talked about the Maldives, let's see home ground. Let's see what happens in the Maldives. Where are we? I actually answered this question to some extent at the beginning. I showed a slide that was evidence of the fact that Maldives has shown real commitment to promote inclusion and diversity. Apart from those, a long time ago, Maldives also ratified CEDAW. It has been lifting reservations, and it recently launched its first decent work country program, DWCP, with the ILO, I think in 2026. And there are many, many other initiatives. So there is commitment. We are doing some things, but this leads us to deeper questions. Do our public institutions truly reflect the diversity of our nation? Something to seriously think about. Do our institutions truly reflect the diversity of our nation? Are we building a civil service that earns the trust of its people? Are we doing that? Is another question we should be thinking about in a platform like this. The answer? There are gaps, lots and lots of gaps. Now, when we talk about inclusion and diversity, we are not talking about only gender, we are talking about the youth, we are talking about the elderly, we are talking about the vulnerable communities. It's a very big, very huge topic, right? So first, let's look at, as an example, gender representation, the global picture. The global picture of women in leadership shows us that women just hold under a third of leadership positions, 30.6, a third of leadership positions, and only 11% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women. If you look at politics globally, around the world, women lead only 25 countries, and that's less than and they hold a quarter of the cabinet positions, and mainly with portfolios from the social sector, not finance and defense. Now, if you look at the local picture, if you look at ourselves, inwards to ourselves, women's workforce participation in the Maldives remain around 45%, which is below the global average of 53%, and significantly lower than OECD countries, which is 60 to 65%. So women, as I just said, make up around 45% of our workforce, yet only 10.2% are in the leadership. 10.2. If you look at the civil service, women are concentrated in administrative positions and support roles, with limited presence in leadership roles. And you can see it among yourselves, isn't it? The city councils, the PS, you will see how many women are in performing your roles. So that's the gender representation point of view. Now, if you look at labor rights, we talk about immigrants as well when we talk about inclusion and diversity. So labor rights, Maldives is quite late in adopting DWCP. Sri Lanka, our neighbor, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bangladesh had joined earlier programs. They've already started. But we have started, and that's a good sign. If you look at youth, Maldives faces unemployment rates of 15 to 20%, which is higher than the global average of 13%, showing inclusion challenges even for the younger demographics. So the message is very clear. It's very clear. In the Maldives, the gap remains stark. Closing this gap is not just about fairness, it is about unleashing the full potential of our civil service and ensuring that our policies reflect the diversity and strength of our nation. That's how important it is. These statistics that I just shared with you remind us that while our commitments are strong, our challenges are many. There are many, many challenges we still face. As a regulatory body for more than 35,000 civil servants across the Maldives, the Civil Service Commission, along with the institutions, the ministries, and the councils that you represent, all of you represent, we must understand that we are not simply managing a workforce. We are not simply managing a workforce. We are preparing an institution for the future. Okay? That's how much your responsibility is. That's how much our responsibility is. And luckily, we stand at a defining moment. I think Sim, in the morning session, also mentioned you are at a pivotal moment in time because of Maldives 2.0. Similarly, there are many other initiatives that has been launched recently. Maldives 2.0 is one such initiative, but the other one is what we witnessed recently with the launch of the landmark recruitment drive that welcomed over 300 persons with disabilities into the civil service. It's a very powerful step forward. Very powerful step forward. But during a visit to the atolls, I personally experienced and saw the challenges that lie ahead. We were visiting hospitals in the islands, and two of the hospital attendants approached me. They came up to me, and and they pointed to a girl standing nearby who was newly recruited under this initiative. And these are the exact words they told me in Divehi, so I've translated, so there might be something lost in the translation. But they told me this, that girl there is not fit to be employed. She cannot follow simple instructions. Now, I've shared this with anybody who talked to me about inclusion and diversity earlier. I've shared this already. She is not fit to be in the workforce. She is a burden to us. She makes life, our work, very difficult for us. Who, I wonder, actually employed her? She is not employable in a place like this. And she was standing just a few feet away. Just a few feet away. I'm sure she heard every single word. I did not see any expression on her face. But if you were in her shoes at that moment, listening to that conversation, how would you feel? How would you feel? Huh? Nothing? You won't feel anything? Perhaps hurt, isolated, abandoned, disappointed, sidelined, or perhaps all of these feelings all together was running through her mind. So that moment reminded me, inclusion is not about how many people we recruit. It's not about how many people we recruit or the number of new projects that we launch. It's not at all about numbers. We are talking about people. It's not about numbers. It's about how ready we are as a nation to change mindsets. How ready we are to see ability where others see limitation. And this responsibility belongs to all of us. So we must find ways to nurture acceptance, to prepare our institutions before launching huge initiatives, and preparing our people as well as the civil service to have patience, to be accepting, and to be supportive. And this is a process we are talking about. It can't happen in one day. So every new initiative should start with a conversation that leads to policies, that leads to action. And that process should be completed with reflection and more conversations. And this is the right time to do it. Because we have, as Sim said, it's not about waiting for everything to be perfect. It's okay to start. But we have to keep in mind that we have to go through a process. And that this will take, Estonia took 25 years. It might take 30, 40 years for us. But that's okay, as long as it's successful. Okay? So diversity is not merely about representation. It is about recognition. Inclusion is not simply about participation. It is about belonging. So together, these principles form the pillars of civil service excellence, and that's our vision. That's where we need to work. That's what we need to work for. So a civil service that reflects its people serves its people best. If you agree with me, can I hear roof breaking? Yes. That's not roof breaking. It should break the roof. Come on. Can I hear a yes? Loud, louder, louder, louder. Yes, that's what we need to work towards too. Thank you very much for your participation.